Shalom Akim, Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem, Rakakadash. Double honors and salutations to the elders and apostles of great and strong way, and to the Akim and the falcons of the earth. Shalom, Shalom, Shalom. Yeah, man, the drama in Babylon, is just taking in, and the Lord is going to make all the divisions in Babylon become more evident, all right, as we move forward, okay? And they're in a rush, man. The elite are in a rush to accomplish their agenda for a new world order. And, the Most High has already set up some minds, some people, with their spirits that would go head to head, with the government as per on a legal level, to prove that they have a right to stand upon principles, all right? So here you got an employee of the Houston Methodist, that's one of those, what you want to call it, a hospital system, and she doesn't want to go along with the jab, with the jab drive, and that's the reason why the Most High put these examples out there, to let brothers know that, the struggle against Esau is not just our people against him, but also Esau's own people, even the heathen against Esau, all right? So Esau is just trying to, use heavy-handed tactics against the people, since he controls the purse. And just like you remember what the, the father of the so-called international bankers, Maya Amshabar talks about, give me control of a nation's money to create money for a nation, and he cares not who makes it laws. And that's exactly what you've been seeing so far. Amalek has whistled his ways, into prominent positions around the world, and this will happen. So I want to read a quick precept from the book of Job, chapter 13, verse 4. All right, because the Most High set up things in place for people to use, and the wicked will be chastised, for turning against the Lord. So this is Job chapter 13, verse 4. But ye are forgers of lies, ye are all physicians of no value. Yeah, so we're in research after research, it's being published. And all these big corporations and all these big pharmaceutical companies can't, stand up to it, with their own facts. And they have to rely on deception and corruption. It just shows you who wins, So it's not really about how big, the opponent is. It's about the truth, and the truth always wins, man. And whether the battlefield is, in the courtroom, on the social media, or on the mind, the facts always win at the end. And let me just play this clip, and that's it.
Houston Methodist Hospital says of its 26,000 employees, 99% are fully vaccinated. But more than 100 workers are suing the hospital, claiming it is illegal to make the vaccine mandatory. Janelle Bluta has more tonight on the lawsuit and how the hospital is responding. Janelle?
Well, this lawsuit is coming in the nick of time. Those employees only have 10 more days to decide if they're going to get the vaccine or get fired. But they're hoping this lawsuit will help them keep their jobs without having to get the shot. It's 117 employees versus the hospital that hired them, with Houston Methodist nurse Jennifer Bridges leading the charge.
People trying to force you to put something into your body that you're not comfortable with in order to keep your job is just insane.
It's a debate now up to the courts to decide. Weeks back, Houston Methodist told its employees get the COVID-19 vaccine by June 7th or lose your job.
And yes, it's being used under EAU, but at the same time, that is experimental by definition.
Attorney Jared Woodfill says first they filed a declaration action asking the court to declare that policy illegal and then an injunction.
Yeah, so one thing you have to remember, they're still in the experimental stage, all right? And for a person to participate in a so-called experiment, they have to give their consent, all right? They have to be informed of what they're partaking in, all right? But the media is not being honest. They're being deceitful. And when you watch these news reports, you're just going to see the confusion and nonsense that they spin out of their mouths. Rather than report the truth, they're just twisting and adding doubt and confusion. And that's the reason why the Lord has to get Esau out of the way, man. It's just annoying to see the destruction of of the earth, before the Most High. And people just think that Esau has won and they're giving up. You can't give up. You can't give up hope, man. All right? You got to stand up as a man. The scripture tells you, get up thy loins like a man. And the Lord requires his servants, to have their minds fortified with his word, man. All right? So you don't get taken advantage of, man, in the day of your calamities, the time of your trials. So the book of Exodus chapter 23 verses 1. Let's see, verses 1 and 2. It says, "Thou shalt not raise a false report. Put not thine hand with the wicked to be an unrighteous witness." And that's a commandment from the Most High, all right? The Lord Hamashiach Yahushai. Let us know that, John 4:24, all right? You that worship the Most High in truth, in spirit and in truth. That's what the Lord Most High is looking for, man. Those that worship him in spirit and in truth. Let me get that precept real quick. It's one of the shortest precepts I always like to keep in mind. John chapter 4, verse 24. All right, so it says, the Most High is a spirit, all right? The Most High Yahweh is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. And the scripture has also said that no truth is of a lie, all right? So you have to understand, man, there are play on words in this media, reports, man. It's just something you have to look carefully into, man, so you don't get confused, or let me say confounded, because that's what Esau does, man. You can't get straight to the truth. It's just going to keep on twisting and adding dust and adding irrelevant information, all right, to the report, all right? And then it also says that thou shalt not follow a multitude to do evil, neither shalt thou speak in a cause to decline after many, to wrest judgment. And that's why governments fall, because of unrighteousness, fraudulent judgment against the people. The Lord has already set up the rules, by which, Israelites have to live by. In fact, mankind. But what does Esau want to do? He wants to turn against it, all right?
Asking to keep the hospital from firing them on June 7th. 4 of the plaintiffs, all in upper-level positions, have already been fired. They're also suing for damages.
You just let everybody have a choice and the right to make their own decision.
In a statement, Houston Methodist responded, saying it's unfortunate the few remaining employees are responding this way, adding that it's their duty and privilege to protect their patients. They say it is legal for healthcare institutions.
See, that said sacred obligation. So there's nothing sacred about the obligation of this so-called hospital system, man. So it just shows you that, the Babylon's on its way out, man. To have adults pretending to be, caring about the people, but then strong arming them. It just shows you that it's not a system worth being a part of. They just have to let it be, and keep it moving, man. Because there's always something else the Lord has in store, for our people that choose not to go along with Esau's system.
To mandate vaccines, as they have done with the flu vaccine since 2009. Also today, the EEOC is saying employers are allowed to require the COVID-19 vaccine. So what grounds are the employees suing on? They say having to take this vaccine makes them part of a trial, saying it's not FDA approved. And they claim that's what makes it illegal.
You can't fire someone for refusing to do something illegal. And if you look at federal law, it makes it very clear that it's illegal to force someone to participate in a vaccine trial.
Yeah, and what else are you going to say? Listen.
The hospital says vaccines have proven through rigorous trials to be very safe and are not experimental. In Houston, Janelle Blue to KHOU.
Yeah, so that's what they want to see, a hospital, man. So you could tell me that the hospital doesn't have lawyers to inform them about the law and all that stuff. And they also tell you that in some other report somewhere, if you can pull up the article, that the so-called the so-called EEOC is equal equal employment commission or whatever it is, or Department of Labor. They said they're working on a so-called policy that can allow employers to, to demand, recommend that people participate in the so-called the job drive, So that's one thing you have to be aware of, man. There's so much hand-wringing and intimidation, man, because when folks come from nothing and they're trying to provide for their family, you always have that mindset of tyranny on the plantation that want to hold people back against their will, and they do whatever they can because they've got connections. They've got connections to the government because the government works on behalf of the elites. So whatever the elites want to happen, that's what happens, all right? But that doesn't mean you have to go along with it, okay? So the book of Luke chapter 21 verse 15 says, "For I will give you a mouth and wisdom, which all your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay nor resist. And ye shall be betrayed both by parents and brethren, and kinfolks and friends, and some of you shall they cause to be put to death." Yeah, and that's exactly, what you see on this this news report, man. Betrayal and all that. Someone has to make a decision, to fire these employees that don't want to participate in the job drive, all right? And verse 17 says, "And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake." Yeah, so always remember that, man. There's a cost, attached to serving the Lord, all right, for preaching the gospel, for taking up that mantle of righteousness and sticking with it, okay, all the way to the end, all right? So always remember, man, the Lord Hamashiach Yahushua has already made a promise that you shall not lose your reward, all right? And then verse 18 says, "But there shall not a hair on your head perish." All right, that's really very, very reassuring. And 19 also says, "In your patience possess ye your souls." So as you're getting through these tough times of persecutions and harassment, the Lord tells you, keep your mind in check. How do you keep your mind in check? By hearkening unto the words of the Lord. Just like that, the young man, always holding forth unto the word of the Lord, man, because that's all you have, man, the word of the Lord, your faith and your mind. Everything else is irrelevant. So that's the point that I can always remember, man. You're all going to get tested, and stand firm. Shalom.